All right, guys. So our first alternate triangle configuration is going to be the reverse triangle, and this one, basically it's kind of a misnomer because it's not really the reverse of anything. It's more like a rotated from, let's say, a 9 o'clock normal triangle as you face the person to a 3 o'clock, or a 12 o'clock normal orientation over the top of the back of their shoulders to a 3 o'clock or a 9 o'clock, depending on the side facing the arm. But I learned it as the reverse triangle, and it is so called, and who might have changed the name of things. So, if we have may I have that arm, if you don't mind. So let's say, for instance, we have ourselves in a triangle, and I'm struggling to finish. I'm struggling to create the compression of Frank's shoulder to his neck, or just like cramping his scapula and his whole shoulder girdle into the space in a way that it's nifty, right? Because again, is your shoulder touching your neck?
No.
Not, it still gets the job done. However, as you guys saw, in Frank's variation, he prefers to do it differently. And ultimately, again, we're function over form, so I don't really care, which methodology you use, provided you're able to create the effect that you're looking for. But a common issue that'll happen is people wrap around this leg, and you go, hey, what am I to do here? Because I don't feel like, let's say I really struggle, he's expanding his chest. I'm like, man, I don't have the juice here, and maybe I feel like my fist can't get into his neck, and every now and then you find yourself in a jiu-jitsu tournament where it's really frowned upon to elbow people in the face. They might not even let you come back, and they're probably right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to control posture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check his forearm, or his humerus with my free arm, and I'm going to rotate onto my shoulder, posting on the ground. What this is doing is this is changing the orientation of the back of the lock, so that I'm able to go and drag this guy in here, rather than having my hamstring, or my thigh rather, kind of stuck out here, my femur rather, out here, where I'm like, man, I just don't have the juice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the lock in such a way that I'm able to compress it the same way that I might go here to have effect. Going 1, I'm standing on Frank. 2, inverting onto my shoulder. This knee can touch the ground. It can be in front or behind his elbow, but I'm relocking. And now I'm going to attach to my shin, and I'm going to create compression between this guy and this guy now. So it's a lot closer to a rear naked choke in this particular regard. So rather than the triangle being these two guys, now the triangle is these two guys, and the top of the lock is anchoring here. So this is the back of the triangle, or the top of the triangle, so to speak. That's just kind of keeping them in place, or making sure that I can maintain the structural integrity of my position. And we're creating compression here, backstopped by my thigh, and dragged in by my shin and calf. So if we come back again, I'm climbing this guy, relocking. Tight?
Yeah.
Sweet. Nice thing here is you can also get a hold of the Kimura and really this is scary. I drag this guy up and go the same way. But again, this is we'll call this a reverse triangle. And you're going to apply this specifically when they wrap and you are dead stuck. And you're like, yikes, I just don't feel like I can do it. What I don't want to do is start opening my lock and having this man leave. I hate it when that happens. I hold. I'm maintaining core tension, expanding my body, locking, compression. I've used this a lot in competition in the past. Most recently was able to kind of sort of throw it on against Derek Minner in 2021 December in a fight. But it was like, again, it's MMA is a tricky thing because you have a lot of competing competing interests. Let's say, in my first and foremost interest when it comes to an MMA fight is protecting myself from damage and maintaining grappling so that they can't leave. Because you go, hey, as long as we stay here, your ability to generate the type of force necessary to hurt me is almost zero. And as much as I would like to, really chase the ideal finishing position the way that I would in a grappling context where the other person can't leave, or in the MMA fighting context where I'm like markedly better than the other person at literally everything, which is often what happens when you're fighting like on the way up to the UFCs. You just mollywop a bunch of people. But then you get in there against people that are very, very tough. And even if, let's say, for instance, you feel pretty safe in many regards, the reality is that everyone's there for a reason. They're very athletic, they're very powerful, they're good. And even if you are competent or comfortable striker, you go, man, I'm not Israel Adesanya over here, so not that comfortable and that confident. It's, it'd be like blue belt versus purple belt maybe, but it's not like black belt versus blue belt type of thing. So you go, okay. In that particular instance, I was able to kind of sort of get myself to the position, but not really apply the level of finishing power on it that I would have liked, but was able to continue, applying threat over the course of time and maintaining control of the grappling and maintaining the grappling kind of engagement in the fight, which again is a big deal, coming from a jiu-jitsu background where you random thought, I know I'd probably bring this up every single time I teach a course. But sports jiu-jitsu traveling further and further away from MMA is fine, but that is making it a lot less of a martial art. Because again, if you are going to utilize if grappling is your sword, so to speak, you need to be able to enforce it, and that means that changes the entirety of your decision-making process and also your skill set. You have to be able to force the guy down, drag him down, keep him down against his will, and make sure that all of your decisions don't inadvertently send this person, if they're able to protect themselves, away from you, because now you have to get back up, wrestle this person back down in an energy-intensive way and possibly dangerous way. And then again, if they are a particularly good striker and you are less than that, you are now under significant physical risk, that you didn't need to be at. So again, making sure that as we're going about this, I'm striving to keep this person capped, stop this person from leaving, and most importantly, stay connected, to use Rickson Gracie's terminology, and so that I can prosecute the grappling aspect of this. So one last time. That doesn't matter which side. I'm like, cool. If you're pressuring into me, this is another great one, because I can really utilize that forward press in order to climb him. If you're pressing in, I can treat it like press, like come crush me. Let's rotate. Select. If you're trying to mush me forward, reorient. So if you don't mind, if we come back for a quick second, thigh is on the neck on this side, calf is behind on the other side. Got it. If you're not pressuring me to the same extent, I'm gonna have to climb you. I'll stay longer. And here we are again. Feel free to get going to work on this arm. But most importantly, do your best to stay in there. So we're simply going shoulder, knee, lock, attach. This guy comes to this guy, compression through their neck, and put them to sleep as quickly as you reasonably can.